In this video of my 5 parsecs from home campaign setting, I'm going to go over some of the vehicles that I'm going to be using in the campaign. Now, there is no vehicle combat in the game, but they add a little bit of spice and a little bit of variety to the game. I can use them in narratives, and I can use them as terrain pieces. Now, all of these pieces are, I got like years ago, and they're Russian. So, I got them cheap, and they're really nice. They're made out of nice plastic. They've got tons of detail. I don't have a ton of paint on them. You know, just got bare bones paint on these dudes. Like just yesterday, like these two dudes, I just got like kind of acceptable paint jobs on them, just a splash of color and just a little bit of contrast on them to pick out the details. But I'll get better paint jobs on them as we go, if we get any farther. Now, these are related to some kind of game, and I was able to find some of the cards for these dudes, and they're in English, actually. So the first one we're going to go over is the Helix, and this is a tracked vehicle, and it just has a little cockpit on it and a little base. And this is the data card, which I'm not using, but I'm going to keep it with it. It's called the Helix, and the back has some information on it. This is what the other side of the world uses for their games. So I believe the company that made these is called Zvezda, Zvezda. So that is my tracked little vehicle. It's perfect for this campaign. It's just base coated right now. Maybe do something else. Now this one I don't have a data card for, but it's a generic dune buggy, and the wheels really move, and the tires on here are almost exactly like Lego tires. They're a little larger, but if you've had Lego, you know what's the deal. It's got a nice little motor in there, a nice cannon. This roll cage is this is a really if this was scaled up, this would have no problems being in a G.I. Joe toy form. Some headlights, a little roll cage, a little chair. This little guy is great. I love these vehicles for this scale. Next is going to be the Spider, and basically I base coated it in black. I then just lightly coated it in red, and then I gave it a silver overspray just to make sure it's made out of metal. It's got a chin gun here, and you can see the similar style in the cockpits. They're not exactly the same, but it's a similar style, and it gives a little bit of continuity into the world. These little legs are fully articulated. They're on ball joints, all 6 of them. And I got some oversized machine guns on there. That's very 90s G.I. Joe style weapon system. So that's the Spider. And just in case anybody's wondering, here is the data card right here. And this is the back of the data card right here. And then next we have the T-Rex. This is a very RoboCop Ed 209 looking walker, and I did the same thing. I base coated it in black. I put a blue color scheme on it, and then oversprayed it with a little silver, because I'm not trying to spend a ton of time painting these things up. If I have time later and we get into it, I will pick out the details on this. I'll give it some blue, I'll give it a splash here and there of color, but we're not trying to tear the world apart, making something awesome. These guns can rotate. His legs do articulate. Look at the articulation in this thing. I mean, that is just absolutely amazing articulation. A, for this scale, and B, for this vehicle. I know I only paid like $5 for this thing. Here's the cockpit, which I'm probably not going to open, but it does open, and it does have a couple spots here for additional weapons and on the top. And this is the T-Rex's data card. You can see they have stats for weapons and for some missile launchers and stuff. This is your health bar, And this is the back of the card, if you want to pause the video and check out any of its special abilities. I'm just going to keep these with these dudes just because, you know, for posterity. And, you know, I'm never going to play whatever game that was that came out like 10, 15 years ago. But, man, look at the stance on that guy. So these are the vehicles I'm going to be using. How they're going to play out in the campaign is left to be determined. And that's the end of the video. Have a good one.